Right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome inside the Fan Cave. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. You know the drill. Call us at 412-575-2600. If you can't do that, you can hit us up on X or Twitter at KDPomp, at Chris Mueller PGH. And Chris, you threw me a little curveball tonight. I thought it was Tuesday. I'm conditioned to think Pony's on Tuesday, you're on Wednesday, but something changed accordingly.
Yeah, something did change accordingly, and usually Pony and I behind the scenes are very good at texting the people who need to know so that they can tell you. But we forgot to do it in this case because Pony always forgets, and I just didn't feel like being as responsible. It's Pony's wedding anniversary, Bob.
Oh.
I was down there, what was it here? I'm trying to think of it. Yeah, it was 8 years ago.
In New Orleans,
I was part of a second line in New Orleans, and we were celebrating Andrew and Amanda's wedding, and so happy anniversary to the Philippones. And especially a congratulations to Amanda, who probably has to make more allowances for a guy who's like, no, I've got to watch Ball State and Miami University tonight. It's for work.
Listen,
than any spouse in this business alive.
My wife, Lisa, understands that because I stay up late at night watching a lot of stuff. She wonders why, but it's what you do, right? That's what we do, so you got to watch these things. But Amanda is very patient, no doubt about it, so congratulations to the happy couple. All right, not so happy are Steeler fans after last Sunday's game against Seattle. We saw a lot of guys added to the injury list. We saw a lot of things happen today, biggest of which was Caleb Johnson. Tomlin acknowledged that he will not be returning kickoffs, and quite frankly, he was, I always thought, an unusual choice, only because hadn't done a lot in college, and then he gets here and they had him in the preseason. I didn't see really anything that distinguished himself versus some other possible candidates there. And then, of course, the blunder that he made the other day, something we haven't seen in decades. And so, and listen, he's a young kid, made a mistake. He's going to take this one hard, no doubt. We still haven't seen him as a runner on a consistent basis, but this is a good move probably for them and him. My question is, who takes his spot? They have regulars who they don't like to put in those roles normally, but they're going to have to do that this week.
Yeah, Mike Tomlin saying that he was going to be removed from the kick unit for the time being was not a surprise. I was kind of surprised and a little bit disappointed, I guess. I don't know what the word is, taken aback that his answer when he was asked about potential replacements was he hadn't even begun to think about it yet. That, I hope, is a lie, and he just doesn't want to tell people or give any hints, because I would hope that the first thing he was thinking of after he decided Caleb Johnson wouldn't return him is who would do the job. Scotty Miller, we hear how fast he is. Maybe give him a chance. Calvin Austin, I know he's one of your quote-unquote regulars, but really there's one star receiver on this team. Why not put somebody back there if this play is supposed to be more exciting, if we are seeing a dramatic uptick in return kicks because of the new rules? Why would you not take the opportunity to put someone back there, Bob, whose speed and maybe shiftiness or elusiveness gives kick coverage teams some fits? Caleb Johnson was slow, lumbering, had very little experience, really, no experience in the NFL, actually trying to hit a hole. And he's one in a long line of sort of miscast kick returners. They've had Kerry Davis return kicks. They had Najee Davenport.
Dump truck.
What's next? Maybe, yeah, exactly. What's next? Darnell Washington gets pulled from tight end duty to return kicks. I mean, wouldn't be out of the question for them.
I kind of like the idea of Scotty Miller. Aaron Rodgers says he's the fastest on the team. If that's the case, and put him back there, he's a veteran. He knows what he's doing when he gets the ball. But again, it takes some time to figure that out. The other thing is they're going up against a New England team that leads the NFL in sacks, and they have some really good players up there who can put pressure. This is ultimately a young team, but I think their quarterback, Drake May, had really one of the better outings, if not the best outing of his career last week when they beat Miami 33-27. He was like 80% completion, 2 touchdown passes, 1 rushing touchdown. The kid's pretty good, and he's got some players, and one in particular we all know here, Hunter Henry, their tight end. He had I think it was a hat trick of touchdowns when Bailey Zappi was their quarterback here on a Thursday night, if I recall. So it's not going to be easy going to New England.
No, and Drake May, he's not, I mean, if you go back and look at like rookie and second year Big Ben, I mean, he was even bigger than May, every bit of 6'5", 240 or 245, whatever. May is not far off from Ben in the height and weight department and has, I think, a lot of the qualities that Ben had, especially earlier in his career, about extending plays, being pretty tough to bring to the ground, and having the arm talent to make every throw from every arm angle. So he is somebody that Mike Tomlin was accurate in saying is the kind of player who stresses a defense in many ways and outside the norm. And I would imagine Tomlin, though he would never admit it, is probably staying up late at night, a little bit worried about what Drake May might do if he's got time, or maybe more worried about what Drake May might do if he actually gets pressured by the Steelers, because that's when guys like May and like a young Roethlisberger were often at their most dangerous. This looks like it's going to be a tough out for the Steelers.
Yeah, no question. He could run. We showed that last week as well. He can do a lot of different things, multi-dimensional. All right, you see our KDKA.com Connect, Penn West University question of the night, and this is up there for a reason. I will explain when we come back. Is Baker Mayfield an elite quarterback? Yes or no? Let us know. And call us at 412-575-2600. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. We are on live, KDKA Plus, and most nights 93.7 The Fan. All right, welcome back. This is our Xfinity tweet of the night. Comes from the NFL on CBS. Is Baker Mayfield elite? My answer to that is yes, which is why the question of the night is what it is. And I say that after looking at all these numbers that they put up since 2023. And Baker Mayfield has more yards passing than most of these guys, more than Patrick Mahomes, more than Josh Allen, more than Joe Burrow, more than Lamar Jackson. He has more touchdown passes than all but one. If you look at it, quite frankly, he had a wonderful year last year, Chris, at 41 touchdown passes. And last night watching him, and I made, everybody's going to pick Allen or Lamar Jackson. I get it. But when we did this on the radio, Joe and I, and Austin, my thing was I got to come up with a different choice. I always liked what he's been able to do since he went to Tampa. He's got some elite receivers and a young kid coming up in Ibuka who can make a difference there. He was outstanding last night. What he did in the final 2 minutes against the good Texans defense when they had to was pretty remarkable to me.
Did Austin, just for the sake of being difficult, say that somebody like Russell Wilson was elite, in fact, and not Baker Mayfield? I don't know. That feels like it would be a city limits move in that situation, just to rile Joe up.
I think he went with Allen, and that's a good choice no matter what you do. But
I mean, listen, I'm taking Jackson probably first and then Allen right now because I think they're kind of the top of the mountain. If you gave Mahomes better weapons, I mean, they've kind of had a dearth of talent, a drain of talent around him on the offensive side. I would still say he might be the most dangerous, but here's the thing about Mayfield. He is good enough on any given day to beat any of those guys. Like that's what matters. There are only a handful of quarterbacks where I think you can say, all right, this guy can beat anybody on a given day. He has now ascended into that plane, Bob. That's the best way I can answer it. And man, I know the Steelers had decided to go in a different direction. I got the distinct sense Mike Tomlin, for whatever reason, did not like Baker Mayfield attitude-wise or whatever. But my God, if you brought him here and you actually had an offensive coordinator and a philosophy that would let him play his game, would they be able to keep a single Mayfield jersey on the shelves in this town with the way he plays, with the attitude? I mean, the move he made to get out of the pocket on fourth in the game against Houston, the little shimmy. He's a very good athlete, which I think is what's underrated. The guy can absolutely move. He's built like a fire hydrant, and he's got one of the best arms in the NFL. I do not think it is out of the realm of possibility that Tampa could win the NFC, just on the strength of their offense being really good.
So by definition,
that is a team that
you would think he is elite, yes or no? I do. I think he's
status. I guess I'm listing all this stuff. Yeah, I'd put him in the elite. If you say like the top, how about the top 25% of quarterbacks? So the best 8 in the league you would call elite quarterbacks? Yes, he's a top 8 guy in the NFL for me.
Yeah, I agree. And, Cleveland, talk about the Steelers, but how about the Cleveland Browns? They let him go. They've used 8 different starters since then. We got a lot of people on the line who want to talk, so let's get right to our number one Cochrane Go One Better caller of the night, and that would be Bert in Ross Traver, first up tonight. Hey, Bert.
Guys, thanks. Yeah. I think you guys mentioned Miller. I'd like to see him go in at wide receiver with his speed. They need a deep threat to compete against the better teams. That I don't think those other guys can get it done consistently, and it looks like they can neutralize Metcalf deep. If he can get deep, maybe they can open things up and compete better.
I'm kind of surprised, Bert and Chris, that we haven't seen Scotty Miller. He had a pretty good preseason. Not that that means anything to a veteran who's playing and other guys aren't, but I mean, they talked about his speed and everything, and when he's in there, he seems to make plays and contributes. We haven't seen him at all, it seems.
Yeah, I feel like that might be a positional group thing or how they're going out personnel-wise. A lot of 2 tight end sets which means you're only going to have 2 receivers usually and then a back. They don't do a ton of, probably because they don't trust their offensive line, they don't do a ton of like 4 wide or, a 5 wide, fully spread them out. They usually have at least 1 or 2 tight ends on the field, and I think that's going to make it hard for Scotty Miller to see the field.
All right, back to the lines we go, and it's Mark in Whitehall who joins us right now. Hello, Mark.
Yeah, can either one of you tell me what Coach Tomlin does during the game?
Well, I think defensively, I still believe he has a lot of say in what goes on there. Offensively, I think he defers to Arthur Smith, although he, like any head coach, he would set the tone for what they're trying to do. So, Chris, I think that's natural. We see a lot of 2nd and 10 run plays, which I don't necessarily like, but last game against Seattle, they had a few of those. Sometimes it gets a little predictable that way. I'd like to see a little bit more change-up stuff there.
Yeah, they did horrible on the 2nd and 10 runs. I mean, it was just embarrassing that they didn't want to put the ball in the air. To answer the question, I think functionally he calls the defense on game day. We know that it's his defense and that he is really the guy behind the schemes. He'll have collaboration with Terrell Austin, but I think in game he tells Terrell Austin what he wants. If he maybe lets Terrell Austin in certain situations call it and doesn't override him, but if he wants something called in a given moment, he has it called. And then the other thing we know he does that any head coach does is he is in charge of all the global big do or don't go for it decisions. And that is why, Bob, I don't know about you, I found his explanation, the decision to punt on 4th and 1 from the 48-yard line, really a bad decision that was not supported by the math, the analytics, or anything. I felt that his explanation was even more indicative of a coach who just cannot escape his, predisposition to defense. He says he wants to protect his defense, which had suffered attrition by giving the other team a long field. Here's a novel thought. Protect your defense by trusting your offense to get 1 yard, thus keeping your defense off the field for bare minimum another series of downs, if not more.
Here's another thing I thought, and listen, I understand how this goes. They're not going to try to risk injury, in the preseason. However, today he talked about communication issues that have gone on, and yes, they had those. Also attrition through, it was hot on the field and that kind of stuff. That's the stuff that, to me, you work out in preseason.
Bob, what's in the mug? Bob, let me talk for a minute. What is in the mug in front of you? If that mug is just for decoration, it needs to be filled with water next time.
I have water.
Oh, it's a Oh, come on. There we go. Yeah, there we go. All right, anyway, I found that to be extremely frustrating as well. Today when Mike was talking about this, you could say it's preseason, but man, this is a guy who's been here for almost 20 years. He has been the de facto defensive coordinator, because that's really what I felt like he was more talking about than anything, obviously, his defense, for longer than Dick LeBeau was the DC. And he's bringing in veterans too. It's not like guys who are, don't know their way around the NFL. And you're telling me that he can chalk up this much to just tough communication situations and, it's early in the season. It feels to me like an excuse for them just playing poorly, and Mike Tomlin's willing to take the sort of the slings and arrows for saying that rather than admit that they've just stunk up the joint for the most part.
All right, let's go out to Chuck in Uniontown. He's next up right here on the Sports Call. Go ahead, Chuck. Hello, Chuck. Oh, Chuck.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, here I am. Fellas, I don't care what happened tonight. Paul Skenes still wins the Cy Young Award.
Sure. Slam dunk, I think.
Bob, I don't know whether it's a slam dunk, but here's what I look at. I don't care about his non-winning record with a badly losing team. The payoff to me is this. What can a pitcher control? Can he control his won and loss record? No, not all the time. But he sure can control all the statistics that Paul the Skenes is excellent at, if not the best. And I despite his mediocre outing tonight, I still think he wins it.
No, I agree, Chuck. Well, he had 92 pitches tonight, 3 2/3. The Cubs got to him early, and they have a good lineup over there, Chris. They don't even have Justin Tucker in it right now. They're going to have 5 guys over 20 home runs. I think 3 over 30 by the time this is done. They got a lot of talent, and he had one of those nights. But still, the ERA went from 192 to 203. Still the best in the majors. I think he has one more start. Yeah, to me, there's no other challenger at this point. I would have put Zach Wheeler in that category, but none of these other guys.
He's minus 50,000 at last check. You'd have to bet $50,000 to win 100 on him. That's how overwhelming of a favorite he is. Unabashedly, I will tell you what I want to see happen in probably his last start. I would want him to go 5 or 6 scoreless innings. I would like to see him give, actually not scoreless, I would like to see him give up an obvious unearned run, okay? And then I would like to see the Pirates lose that game 1-0 so that his ERA goes back below 2. His win-loss record goes to 10-11, and we actually get to see a losing record pitcher run away, not just win, but probably run away with the Cy Young, maybe win it unanimously. That is what I want to see. Or I want to see one old sports writer still say they're giving it to some guy who won more games.
Yeah, that doesn't matter at this point. And, it was interesting because I was talking to Steve Benko about this earlier tonight as we're coming down here. I don't think anyone has won Rookie of the Year followed by Cy Young in his first 2 years, especially at his age. I know Valenzuela won both in 1 year, but I don't know there's anyone else. Think about that, Chris. You may have information that I don't. We got to take a break, though. We're up against it. 412-575-2600. It's the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Chris Mueller with you. Kevin D on Twitter hits it up and says, Bob, Doc Gooden did it. Rookie of the Year, then Cy Young in year 2. And I realized how tough and good he was, but I didn't know he did in back-to-back years. That's pretty amazing, and I don't think it's been done, obviously, since then, so this will be something big for Paul Skenes.
I just want to say for the record, Kevin D stole my thunder. In my brain, it said Doc Gooden, and then I went and looked it up and was prepared to hit you with that answer because I thought if anybody did it, it was him. But Kevin D, congratulations on all your success and your shrewd use of baseball reference.
I mean, I was in my head thinking about guys like Verlander or Scherzer or
it's just hard to be as good as Skenes has been and as young as he's been. Gooden was the same way at an even younger age. It's usually hard to follow up such a great season with an even better one, which is essentially what each guy has done.
All right, we're out of time again. Chris, thanks. As always, appreciate it. We'll do it. Are you in tomorrow?
Pony tomorrow, me on Thursday, Bob.
Okay,
there's your schedule.
Switching. Here we go. At least I know in advance. Thank you, Chris. We'll do it again on Thursday then. We'll see Pony tomorrow, and we see you hopefully tomorrow right here at 10:35. Good night.